For fast, cheap, and reliable Madden 20 Ultimate Team coins, make sure you guys go check out my sponsor U4GM Coins. Use code VENM at checkout for 5% off. Yo, what's good guys, Venom Fire here, back in the video, and today I'm going to be talking about, is Madden 21 worth it? Now, I've played about 50 games in the Madden 21 beta, and I'm going to tell you guys whether I think you should buy Madden 21 or if you should save your money. Now, first things first, I'm going to go sort of in tiers, I would say, just from like casual players up to, really good players, players who have been good at this game. So starting out, let's just talk about the casual player. When the casual player first picks up this game, what I think they will be, I think they are actually going to be able to be pretty good. I've faced a lot of people running coach suggestions, and they were able to score on me a couple of times. They were able to move the ball, and in this game, you might be able to do that. Now, that's considering its regs. Most of those offenses were very good, so that's really one thing that you should not over-highlight, because a lot of those offenses, they have high overall receivers, high overall players, or at least the Buccaneers, the Chiefs, and the Ravens. The Falcons didn't. They still have Julio Jones, Matt Ryan, Todd Gurley's. It's still a decent offense, but keep in mind that's regs, and it really does depend if you're playing Ultimate Team or regs. So overall, that's going to be sort of a key factor, but I feel like if you're playing regs, it can definitely be fun for you, just because you can pretty much easily pick up. You can run with the Chiefs, and you can have a fun time throwing bombs to Tyreek Hill, throwing drags, making people miss in the open field. So I do think for the casual player, it overall is worth it. Now, it really does depend what you would consider a casual player. If you're one of those players who maybe they buy the game, they never really play online, they just play against their brother, they play against their friend, every time they come over or whatever, then I'm not sure if it's ever worth it to only play it then, but I still think it's a good, casual, fun game. I think you're going to have a lot of close games with your friends, just because no one's really good at defense. Obviously, we can expect some metas to form in the game, so that's definitely something that could change, but just based off the beginning of the year, no one's been able to play defense. I've had super high scoring games with opponents, and I think it can really be fun games for casuals, which is, the biggest point. That's the biggest thing that, EA tries to do every time they release a game, probably, is to appeal to the casual players, because that is the majority of their offense. You guys got to understand that, even if maybe most people that watch me are like above average or whatever the case is, the majority of people that play this game are casual players. So yeah, that's really what EA has to appeal to, and I think they did a really good job of balancing both casual and pro players. So that's or not pros, but 20 wins weekend league players, whatever you want to say. Next, let's talk about franchise. I don't really know how to feel about franchise. Again, we haven't seen much, so that's going to be something that maybe you wait to buy the game to see if they added any good changes that you like. But as far as gameplay, I think it's going to be a lot of fun for you. I've been liking regs a lot with those three teams. I think that the abilities are fun, and a lot of the gameplay is fun. That was only 4 teams. I got to do so much different stuff, so many different offenses, so many things that I could do with only 4 teams. And I basically only ran with 3 teams because the Falcons were so bad. But just imagine what you can do with the 32 teams. It's going to be a lot of opportunity, and overall, yeah. So I also want to highlight a lot of the gameplay defensively. Now, if you're really more of a defensive player, I don't know if you'll like this game. If you're one of those players who likes to control the clock, you like to control the clock, play defense, then this game might not be for you. This is more of a high-powered offense, kind of like the Chiefs in real life, where they put up 40 points a game, but they don't really play defense. They just try to hold their opponent to less than they do and hope that they get the last possession of the game, something like that. That's really how the game kind of went for me in this beta. It was basically whoever gets the ball to start the second half won the game, probably the majority of the time. Unless I was playing somebody really bad, but it's really going to be a high-scoring game, and I think that's a lot of fun for the casual player. But as far as the pro player, if you're really one of those players, you run dive 20 times a game, you run the ball 20, 25 times a game, I'm not really sure if that's going to be your type of a game. And if you really don't like, having to pass, you don't like all that stuff, it might not be for you. But also, I want to talk about the skill gap, and this is really where it's going to be, is it worth $60 or $100 to buy this game? Now, like I said, it really does depend on how much you play the game. Obviously, if you're just gonna play it, one time a month, I'm not sure if it's worth it, but obviously you're the only one who can really make that decision. But I want to talk about the skill gap, because I definitely noticed the skill gap between the lower level players and a player like myself, and me going up against someone of my skill level. So every time I would play, a casual player, the first couple of drives, they would usually score on me, because every time I see a new scheme, you don't know what to expect. They're obviously usually they're running coach suggestions, but sometimes they can just go to, random formations, and they're, trying to figure out their playbook, but they're obviously in like Chiefs offense, which is not a very good offense. So usually maybe their first 1-2 drives, they might put points up. They might score a quick touchdown with Tyreek Hill. And that's really, something that you can expect to happen probably when the game comes out. Expect to get scored on even by bad players. I've had people who were running coach suggestions scoring touchdowns on me. And there's nothing I could really do about it, just because defense is very difficult. But then you start getting to that third and fourth possession. You've caught on to a lot of his tendencies. And what I mean by tendencies is he throwing streaks up the middle every time he's in a spread set? Is he running the ball every time he's in an under center set? I can start run committing. I can start blitzing everybody. That's really just the things that you have to pick up on. And once you start picking up on those tendencies, that's where I think you're able to get those stops, or at least you're able to hold them to 3 sometimes. If they send 5 routes out, they might always find somebody open, but you just got to hope to get a pass rush. So overall, I do think that there is a skill gap in this game, and I definitely had a lot closer games with people who knew what they were doing, with people in the same formations. And what I mean by that is they knew what their scheme was, they knew what their offense was. They were in, U-trips the entire game, they were in gun bunch the entire game. They knew what offense they wanted to run, and those were obviously the more experienced players, the players who actually really knew what they were doing. So basically with that, it really does lead me to the point where I think that this game is worth it. If you're planning to play, if you're planning to grind out this game, I really do think it's worth it, because I think there's so much room for improvement, even for a player like myself. I played 50 games within 4 days. I played the game so much, and I would still consider myself a pretty bad Madden 21 player. I wouldn't say bad, I'm definitely above average in the sense compared to everybody else playing the game, but still, me holding, people running random formations to 30 points is definitely not the best ever. So there's definitely so much skill gap, and that really leads me to believe there's so much potential with this game to get better, which is really something I look forward to, because if I'm already super good at the game, it's not going to be fun for me. It's not going to be fun for me to go sit down in practice mode, try and find new offenses, try and find new defenses. I really do look for a game where I can improve on, and I think this one is going to be one of those where you're sort of starting from the ground zero, maybe not as much on offense. Obviously, you could try and find good offenses, but defenses, it's really going to be the key, figuring out how to get stops, figuring out the best way to use her, and there's just a lot of mechanics that you kind of have to master. So overall, we got the casual players. I said they should probably buy. I got the average players. The average players are the ones, like I said, you can really get better. Like I said, I wouldn't consider myself an average player per se, but I still have a lot of room to get better, so that's basically what I was meaning. Anyways, moving on, let's talk about like pro level players. You're a top 100 weekend league player. You are a player who is very good at Madden 20. Should you buy Madden 21? Let's say, even though you are a really good player, you don't like the game. I was pretty good at Madden 20. I did not like the game, and I like this Madden 21 a lot better. Like I said, obviously we can't make too many assumptions based on just the beta. We only played with 3 teams, but I'll tell you what I did in the beta. I tried to run a new offense every single game. Now, I ran Y off trio, I ran blast, I ran tight offset, I ran trail Y flex, I ran trips, I ran bunch tight end, I ran cluster, I ran wing flex close, I ran pretty much every offense, tight slots, halfback weak, literally every offense you could think of. I ran U-trips, split close, A slot offset, just so many different offenses, wing tight, literally every offense you could think of. I tried to run and test out, so I was literally just there's so much diversity in this offensive game and defensive game that I think it's going to be a lot of fun to figure out your favorite thing, and you could really run a unique offense in this game, and I think you could have success, which is the reason that I think a lot of the top 100 weekend league players, a lot of the players who are really good at the game right now, definitely could enjoy this year's game, and that's just simply because you can do a lot of off-meta stuff. I'm not even sure if there's going to be a meta. There are always, metas, bunch, probably will be a meta, the formations that all the pro players run, but what I mean is that you could definitely win 20 games a weekend league running bunch tight end probably this year, and I think last year was very diverse with the offenses that I came across, but it could be even more diverse this year. You probably will see a lot of people running spread, and really I think it's going to be a lot of fun because there is no send 7 blitz meta anymore. I don't think I got stacked against someone blitzing 7 once, and barely anybody was blitzing at all, just because, that might be because they're slow, but I went in practice mode for a couple of hours trying to find blitzes, and most of them didn't work. The only ones that work are when you send 7 against 6 people, which shouldn't even be considered a blitz. But really, that's pretty much it. Overall, I would say it's worth it to buy this game. Like I said, if you're in that rare, I like to run the ball, play defense, this might not be the game for you because defense, it's really more of an offensive game this year, in my opinion. Years past, it has been pretty defensive. Like, obviously, in salary cap this year, you had really low scoring games, 10-3, 6-3 type of games where you really just want to control the clock, drive down the field methodically. In this year's game, it really is just fireworks, just all the way down the field. So overall, like I said, I love the game. I think it's worth it. Maybe you wait until launch. That could be better for a lot of you guys if you're still deciding. Obviously, you still have to decide between the $100 and $60 and the $80. It really does depend if you're playing Ultimate Team. There's a lot of factors, and obviously for those franchise players, I would definitely wait. Obviously on pre-ordering, see what changes they made and what they are going to release with that mode. But overall, if you guys enjoyed this video, if you want more videos similar to this one, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and peace. I'm out of here.